This episode is presented by Visit Cedar City Bryan Head Tourism Bureau. Discover the art of adventure at Utah's gateway to the parks. Cedar City is within a few hours' drive from 6 different national parks and monuments, and only 30 minutes from fresh snow at Bryan Head Resort. Check out visitcedarcity.com to plan your next trip. This episode is sponsored by the Cedar City Business and Innovation Center. Dedicated to supporting local businesses and entrepreneurs, it provides resources and services aimed at fostering business creation, growth, and retention. To learn more and get involved, visit innovationcenter.cc. Hello and welcome to the Explore Local podcast presented by Visit Cedar City Bryan Head in partnership with Cedar City Iron County Economic Development, produced by Dallas Smith Media, and I'm your host, David Johnson. All right, well today we have Heather Carter with Festival City Farmers Market,
yes,
and also with Nature Hills Farm, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Heather, why don't you give us, maybe let's first talk about, let's first talk about the farmers market.
Okay.
Because it might seem a little odd that we're talking about a farmers market on the podcast right as winter is approaching, but there's something unique about that with your farmers market, and maybe why that is. So go ahead and give the highlight about the farmers market here.
You bet. We Festival City Farmers Market. We are going into our 15th winter here in Southern Utah. So we were the first farmers market in the state of Utah to introduce a year-round farmers market and to kind of start practicing that, where we just stay open the whole year. And when we first started, we did move into a building in the winter.
Uh-huh.
So we were an IFA for several years.
Oh, okay.
And so it was a little bit warmer. We had less vendors, of course, but it was a really good idea and a model because it helped farmers make this more of a full-time job versus just a seasonal way to earn money. And so that was kind of our goal behind the whole thing of going year-round, was that more farmers could do this as a job and sell at the farmers market and be able to make a living doing it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So with the farmers market, why don't you give us just the overall overview, where the farmers market's located, how many years you've been running,
Okay.
kind of some of those things.
So we are on 100 West, just north of University Boulevard. Mm-hmm. We've been running for 15 years now. We have not always been in this location for the whole 15 years. We've kind of jumped all over the place.
How long have you been at this location?
This will be our third year. I think
Okay.
we're going into our third year in this location. We have been downtown for several years. Our goal was to kind of keep it downtown. When we did start going year-round, we set up an IFA, both indoors and outdoors, for several years. And then when we moved back downtown to kind of keep it located down there, that's when we started staying outdoors all year. So that kind of made it tricky with our winters to be able to accommodate the amount of vendors that we have that are still interested in going year-round. We are now on the street all year long.
Wow, that is crazy.
Yeah.
How many? Talk about your variety of vendors. So you talk about this was to be year round for helpful for farmers.
Yes.
How many vendors in general do you have in the summer versus during the winter time?
So this weekend we have about 65 vendors setting up.
Wow.
And about half of those are typically artisans.
Okay.
And everything that we do at the farmers market is handmade, homemade, or handcrafted or homegrown.
Okay.
Everything has to be, we don't really allow vendors to come and just resell products that they've purchased, online.
Yeah.
So we really want it to be like an artisan type event. All of our crafters do make everything that they sell. We have a lot of bakers. I would say we have about 50% artisans, and then we have about 30 to 35% would be our bakers and other food vendors. Then we have farmers, and we have food trucks and concession type food as well. So that ready to eat food, come, and we have some of the best ready to eat food in Cedar City, in my opinion.
Well, that's great. Well, talk to me about some of the businesses over the years, or some of the vendors, I should say, over the years that have started in the farmers market and have found that to grow to a success beyond the farmers market.
Okay. We have quite a few farmers that have started off and have kind of now expanded their business and do a lot just on their property. You know, they have a farm store, they do events on their property, or you know, do a lot of the agritourism type thing, dinners, those type of things. And we've had quite a few of those of our farmers kind of expand in that way and not participate in the farmers market as much anymore, which we love for them to stay and participate in the market, but that business model has worked really well for them.
Yeah.
We've had quite a few of our craft vendors branch out and open a store and do their jewelry and those type of things in a store type front. The Navajo Trading Company, I think that's how she says it. They're right across from us. They're one of our vendors, and they run their store.
Say the name of the company.
It's the Navajo Trading Company, where they make the jewelry. And Canyon
that's their
Blooms.
official name.
Yeah, that's their storefront.
Okay,
they're right
gotcha.
there on University Boulevard.
Navajo Crafting Co.
Crafting Co. Yes, sorry.
Navajo Crafting Co?
Crafting Co.
Okay.
Yes, and then Canyon Blooms is also one of our vendors, and they are sharing that space with them.
Okay.
Dippers, which is really close to us.
Yes,
They
I
are
love
also,
Dippers, by the
yes,
way.
they're so good, and they started off at the farmers market.
Yeah.
Megaloaf was another one that started off at the farmers market and has expanded.
Let's explain. Dippers is a hand-dipped banana, frozen banana.
Frozen banana.
They do ice cream as well.
Yes.
But their real shtick is the frozen banana
Yes.
dipped in chocolate with whatever toppings you want
Yes.
on it. They can go half banana or whole. Believe me, I've been there a few times. And they have a punch card if you want to get over.
And they have been, they're really good products.
But this was just a brother and a sister.
Yes.
And they started off
At the farmer's
at
market.
the farmer's market and
Yes.
thought, let's sell some hand dipped bananas,
Yep.
you know? And then it just became such a hit that they opened up a little storefront, which is actually off 100 West right there next to you anyways, right?
Yeah. In fact, we were at a farmer's market in the evening and they noticed that building was vacant. And so they were breaking down, and I went over and I was like, "You guys good? What's going on?" And they're like, "We're just looking at this building." And it ended up that I knew who owned the building and that they were going to rent it out. And so we got them all connected, and they had pursued that, and it's been really good for them and their business.
Well, that's such a fun success story, because one of the great things about farmers markets and local artisans and farmers is helping. It's a starting point for a lot of businesses that can't afford brick and mortar,
Right.
or maybe they don't know how to market it quite online. And so if you can create kind of a local following, then that can help your business to grow.
Absolutely. And that we find that with a lot of businesses. In fact, I encourage any of the farm stands or farm stores or home bakers that are popping up, to really establish their clientele through the farmers market. Like come to the market, be out there, be visual, and then people will know who you are, and then you can direct them to your home afterwards.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, one of the things that I love when I visit other towns is I run. So the way I kind of tour towns is I'll run a town.
Yeah.
And one of the things I love in cities, although I don't choose to live like in a city for reasons of I just like the peace and quiet out of the city. But I love. I'm bipolar, I guess, in this way. I love going to the city and feeling the synergy in a downtown area.
Yes.
And there's something about our beautiful historic downtown, our incredible businesses in the historic downtown. And then with the farmers market right there, I feel like it just really adds to this synergy that we have going on in the downtown area. And it just makes it vibrant and fun. And then we've got Utah Shakespeare Festival and the Beverly Center right across.
Right.
And then now we're going to be getting this new hotel.
Right.
That's a 5-story hotel that's opening right there, which I think will just continue to add to that synergy. And when you have visitors coming and staying in this hotel downtown, there's a farmer's market across the street, there's a Shakespeare Festival, there's this beautiful Hallmark movie-like historic downtown. It just makes it so much fun and makes you want to keep coming back there. I'm blabbing. I don't know if you have thoughts as I'm talking about this.
Yeah, absolutely. We have noticed when we were much smaller several years ago, and as we have moved into a bigger space, and we were actually in that parking lot where they are building the hotel.
Right.
And so we needed to move for construction. And we were, a little nervous. Change is always hard.
Yeah.
And whenever you move a farmer's market, it's like people just can't find you, even if it's right across the street.
Yeah.
So we were a little nervous about moving, but we moved onto the street, and it just created a whole new vibe for our farmer's market. And we liked it. The customers liked it. The businesses around us liked it. And then we had to move from that location across the street to where we are now. And that was a big move for us, but it was a good move. As whenever we have moved, we've created more space for our vendors, which made it possible for more vendors to join us. So we were maxed out at 30 vendors in our first location, and then 50 vendors, and now we have room for 60 to 70 to 80 vendors, and that's kind of where we sit. And so the move has been great. I think that we've really kind of found our spot in downtown, and we've kind of settled in, and people know where to find us. We've kind of created this great street type fair vibe, and we have a lot of customers every week. It's really, really been a great year for us.
So talk to me, or tell our audience, I guess. You mentioned the location. What days, times? I can't remember if you mentioned that in the beginning. What days and times is the farmers market available?
So Saturday morning, every Saturday, with the exception of a couple weeks in the end of December and January. We're open from 9 to 1 p.m. all summer. We'll switch to 10 to 2 p.m. through the winter. We will do that after the Storybook Parade. That's November 8th. Okay. And after the parade, the next weekend, we'll switch to our 10 to 2. We typically do that in November, but because of the parade, we want to be set up before the crowds.
Oh, gotcha.
Crowds show up. So we'll be set up at 9, and then the parade will start at 10, and we'll be there. And we'll be there for hot cocoa afterwards,
Yeah. Well, okay. Take a moment to, and I know it's hard because you can't necessarily name everyone, but take a moment to highlight some of your vendors. And you talked about the different almost genre vendors. You've got your artisans, you've got your food vendors or your bakers, and you have your farmers. Take a moment to highlight a few of them to give people an idea of what some of these vendors offer and what they do.
So we have jewelry. We got a lot of really unique, nice jewelry. Some of our really great artisans, we have soap, like some really good handmade soap. Like I don't buy my soap anywhere but the farmer's market because it's some just really good soap. Some of our food vendors, we have you would call it like a ready-to-eat food. Like, so they're not a food truck, but they're set up in a canopy. And we have delicious burgers. Gavin's Grill is really good. He makes a smash burger and also a gourmet grilled cheese sandwich. He has become super popular. And the reason why is because it's all homemade. Everything is homemade. His beef is the highest quality you can get, sourdough bread, all of the jams and all of the condiments and things that he uses are homemade.
Yeah,
so it's
he was set
really
up at
good.
the One Utah Summit.
Yes.
And I didn't try it because it was a little too adventurous for me and I don't like peaches, but he had this really interesting peach sandwich. I was
Yes.
I was so close, tempted to trying the peach sandwich.
Oh,
I went with
so
like a
good.
pesto one
Yes,
instead.
yes.
But talk about some of the unique. He has some of those unique things.
So one of his most popular burgers was one that was developed for Peach Days.
Oh,
and it's
up in
actually
Brigham City,
no,
or-
in Hurricane.
Oh, and Hurricane has a peach days
yes,
as well.
They have
I
a
didn't
Peach
know
Days
that.
over Labor Day weekend.
Well, okay, I'm not. I'm
It was
not
crazy
as
busy.
cultured Southern Utah as I should be. But
well, and I think it's just really become very popular the last several years.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, but he created a peach burger for that event.
Now I wish I would have tried it.
Yeah, it was a smash burger with pepper peach jam and grilled onions and grilled peaches, and
Oh,
it was
wow.
so popular.
Oh,
and
wow.
people are still ordering it now, and we're just at the tail end of peach season. So,
I'm gonna
so
have
the
to go
peaches
try
are
it.
going to be,
Yeah.
the peach burgers are going to go away. The peach grilled cheese will go away, but he makes adjustments. Strawberries will be coming in season in February,
Yeah.
and so then he switches to a strawberry grilled cheese,
oh wow,
and then apricots, and then into peaches.
that just reminds me of like the kids. Movie, the Ratatouille, where you're like combining all these pairings that you would
Yes.
not even think, and then
Yeah.
you eat it, and you're like, "Whoa, that just blew my mind."
Yeah, so it's amazing, and he's working towards a little food truck rally that we're going to be working on. That's going to be coming up in the future here soon, so some of our food vendors can set up during the week as well.
yeah.
Another one of our food vendors that's amazing is the street food. They do Mexican food,
Okay.
and they always have a line.
Oh,
you
okay.
know, and it is amazing. I would say it's one of the better Mexican places here in town. And they are working at a food truck. They're going to have a food truck soon. And so, which is a jump for anybody setting up, a
Yeah.
concession.
From a tent to a truck.
Yeah, it's a
and
big
then from
jump.
a truck to brick and mortar.
Yeah.
They're big investments and jumps.
It is, yeah. So they're working, they're moving up.
Yeah.
But we have really good food. We have, sourdough. One of our sourdough vendors, she brings 100 to 130 loaves every week, and she sells out every
What's
week.
her company?
It's called Canara Homestead,
Okay.
Canaraville Homestead, and they bring a bunch of different flavors of sourdough bread,
Oh, wow.
and they are super popular.
That's awesome.
So she does really well. We have, we have honey, we have microgreens, we have sauerkraut and ferments. There's just so many things, such a wide variety of things that you can find at the market. There's just like a little bit of everything there. So it's an experience. We have live music. That's kind of one of our things that makes us unique. A lot of markets have music, but
Even during the winter?
yes.
I can't
all
imagine
year.
playing the guitar when your fingers
Yes.
are like so stiff and cold.
Yes, there's been a few weeks that's been difficult, but we've been lucky. We haven't had super cold winters, and I would say in 15 years of us doing our winter market, we've never had to close down because
Oh,
of
wow.
weather.
Wow.
We've closed early a few times,
Sure.
just because it's been started
But
to
you've never had to
snow.
cancel it.
Nope, never had to cancel. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we've been lucky. The weather gods have just,
Yeah.
smiled on us and, started the bad weather after the market.
So talk about the fresh goods, the
Yeah.
the farmers and that, because that's kind of the impetus of a farmer's market.
Yes. So we're one of the biggest growers that goes to the farmer's market.
Your Red Hills farm. You're saying,
Nature
or-
Hills Farm.
Or I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Nature Hills. I
Nature
apologize,
Hills
yeah.
Farm, yeah. And we grow a variety of vegetables, and then we supplement with fruits from an orchard that we work with. We work with an orchard up north and in Hurricane for fruits, and then we
Okay.
also bring in berries from one of our farmer friends that grows organic berries in California. So
Okay.
that's where we get our fruit from. Fruit's not as easy to grow here
Yeah.
in Cedar City as the vegetables are, but we bring in a really big variety.
What's the orchard up north that you work with?
We work with Cherry Hill Farms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So they are both in southern Utah. They have a big orchard down in Hurricane and Leeds.
Okay.
And then they have a lot of trees in Santaquin area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we've worked with them for the last few years. And before that, we worked with the people that own the orchard that they lease that's in southern Utah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they are great to work with and really quality produce. And then we have a couple other growers that we have one guy that does mushrooms as well as he's growing a big garden.
They're not
this year.
psychedelic, right? They're
No, dang
I'm
it.
just kidding.
Nope. But they're beautiful. Beautiful.
I actually, I was a very picky eater growing up, and my wife says it's because I never got actually real fresh cooked vegetables. I got the canned and the frozen stuff, and the 90s and late 80s casseroles is what I grew up on. and my wife always tells me it's how it's cooked.
Yeah.
And so before we were married, I worked at a steakhouse up north, and I was in the back, and one of the cooks was like, "Hey Dave, you should try this mushroom." And a sauteed mushroom, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I can't pansy out, I'm going to try it. And I ate it, and I thought I was eating a piece of steak. It was so amazing. They had these fresh mushrooms that they then sauteed and cooked, and my mind was blown.
Yeah.
Similar experience in college. I was at work, and somebody had an avocado, just a fresh avocado that they cut in half, and they're doing slices, and they're putting, and this to me at the time sounded so foreign, but to everybody else they're like, oh, that's normal. But they cut an avocado in half, they cut slices, and then they put salt on it, and they were just eating it straight. And I just looking at them like, what are they doing? And I think that's what I said to them. I said, what are you doing? Like, how are you just eating it like that?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, Dave, you should really try. Because I remember as a kid, I had an aunt, she would just eat like a tomato, like an apple. And I tried it and couldn't take it.
Right.
But I'm like, okay, I can't pansy out here. They put some salt on an avocado, and I ate it, and my mind again was just blown. I'm like, what? This is, and I always had a sweet tooth as a kid, and I probably still do. But my mind was blown that there were flavors out there that were good for you. And when I hear people talk about, I can't eat fats and all these things, I'm like, actually, your body needs fats.
Yeah.
And since, and I'm an adult and I feel lame, but I'm like, they're healthy fats, like an avocado, like these fresh fruits and vegetables, more particularly the vegetables, but they're these fresh produce that are good for you, and you get your fiber and your fat and all these things that you need. Anyways, I'm blabbing. I don't know if you have thoughts as I've just been kind of going off on some of this. Yeah, no, we
sell a lot of vegetables, especially during the
summer months.
Yeah. I mean, we do try to grow year round. We're not growing as much in the winter as we used to. We kind of slowed down our winter production a little bit because in the wintertime, you're mostly growing things in the fall, and then you're overwintering them and harvesting them during the winter.
Okay.
So they're not growing as much as they are sitting in the ground and we're ready to harvest. But we've kind of slowed down the production of our winter gardens just to have a little break,
So what's your top produce that you sell? Or maybe your top 3 produce that you sell?
We sell a lot of tomatoes.
Okay.
We grow some beautiful onions, big onions, some bigger than, we've had cantaloupe-sized
Yellow,
onions.
red, the chive onions, what kind?
All varieties, yes.
I had no idea that there were onions that were shaped like sticks.
Yeah.
Like chives, right? That's what those are, green onions.
Yes.
And bulbous onions. I guess the chives are they have a bulb
just
as
a
well,
small
right?
one. Yeah, just a tiny.
Yeah, but what you actually eat's the stem.
Yeah.
Anyways, I've been so cultured since I've been an adult.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, that's an onion and that's an onion?
Yes. We sell a lot of we sell a ton of strawberries. Like when we start strawberry season, which usually starts about the end of February.
It's also canning and jam season, right?
Yes. We sell a lot of berries because berries are something that people want to eat every single week, and so we've actually expanded our berries a lot. We're planting a lot of berries this year as well, so that we'll have some that we harvest here and then we supplement with with berries from our friends. We've been getting berries from the same farm for over 10 years.
So do you have vendors that sell like canned jams
Yes.
and goods and preserves and
Yeah.
things like that. What are some of those types of things? Yeah,
Yeah.
you mentioned honey, which is a little different than the canned goods,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, so we have jam, lots of different varieties of jam. We have, I did mention the sauerkraut and the kimchi,
Oh, yeah.
which are really good.
I used to always joke that sauerkraut was just rotten cabbage that people were
Yeah.
eating.
Kind of.
But it's not. It's not. Okay,
It's
FYI,
fermented,
It's
not
fermented.
rotten,
I know
but
that.
yeah.
I was being a smart aleck
Yeah.
when in my picky
Yes.
eater days.
Yes.
But you eat sauerkraut with a brat or something,
Yeah.
and it blows your mind.
It's
You're like,
really
what
good.
in the world?
And so good for you.
Yeah.
Like really good for you. So we also have like right now like pickled carrots, pickled beets,
Oh, wow.
pickled cucumbers, which are pickles. Also like sauces,
Yeah.
spaghetti sauce, anything that you can make from the produce that we
Yeah.
have been growing, usually is put into a jar, and those are always limited. I mean, you're limited to the amount that the farmer can make,
Yeah.
as with their fresh produce,
Yeah.
as well as how much people are purchasing those,
Right.
because a lot of people this time of year start stocking up. They're
Yeah.
not bottling and preserving things themselves, so they're coming to the market and they're just buying enough to get them through the winter.
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, it is awesome. It's really cool.
Well, not everybody knows how to can necessarily. It
Yeah.
is a bit of a process. And so I grew up in the military, and we would always come home for like Christmas. So, my parents grew up in northern Utah, and that's why I was thinking of Peach Days. I said Brigham City
Oh, yeah.
my great grandmother was and grandparents were in Brigham City, and she always had. We say canned, but they're jarred,
Right.
for those who don't know
Yes.
the difference. But she always had canned peaches.
Yes,
and
those are
again, a
amazing.
picky eater, even fruits. Like I didn't touch, but I would eat my great grandma's canned peaches and canned pears. That they would grow themselves. They
Right.
would then bottle or can or however you
Yes.
want to phrase it. And so there's a lot of nostalgia around that
Yeah,
for me.
absolutely. And it's kind of a lost art. Not a lot of people
It is, yeah.
know how to do it or take the time to
Yeah.
do it. And
And her jam, her strawberry jam,
yep.
fresh strawberry jam that she would make.
Yeah.
Sorry, now I'm really diving. I totally spaced this. She would have this fresh strawberry jam, and she had one of those old school waffle irons. When we went to my great grandma's house, you would have like the peaches and pears with like lunch, but then she would always make these homemade waffles with her fresh strawberry jam. There was nothing else like it. And
Yeah.
I don't know why my parents didn't really know cooking and things other than the 90s casseroles and
Yeah.
stuff. So when we kind of come home from my parents, I would be exposed to some of these things from my great grandma.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Great memories. Food
Yeah.
Food is associated with memories. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also associated with weight gain and weight loss sometimes,
Yeah. Well, and if you're eating really good food, then it's,
Yeah.
it's not as, I don't feel like you gain as
I know.
much weight from
I say
eating
that
good
jokingly
food.
about coming into the middle age. I'm like, I
Yes.
enjoy food and the memories, honestly, around food.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten a little older, I've found I have to watch it a little bit more. But like
Yeah.
some of the fun things, food, going again with some of these canned, bottled things, is something else that seemed bizarre to me. Were like these jalapeno jams.
Oh,
or when you
yes.
talk about like that peach,
Pepper peach
yeah,
jam.
pepper peach jam. So bizarre. But when my brother, he smoked my brother-in-law, he smoked a block of cream cheese on the smoker,
Yep.
and they put it out, and they put this like
Pepper-
the
pepper
jalapeno jam
Yes.
on it.
It's the best way to eat
Again,
it.
mind blowing.
Yes.
I'm like, what is going? How do people come up with this stuff?
Well, we've been making a lot of pepper jam
Have
at
you?
the farm
Yeah,
the last
talk
couple
about
of
it,
weeks.
yeah.
Yeah, because peach season is starting to come to a close.
Yeah, so it's dwindling a lot,
Yes,
yeah.
a lot of pepper peach jam. Also pomegranate jalapeno jam. That's one of our
Really?
biggest selling jams. People love the pomegranate and jalapeno together.
Oh, yeah.
and it's always really good. With,
Yeah, I've got to try it.
yeah, super good with, especially with the cream cheese.
Yeah.
Good with sourdough bread or crackers, but especially if you get homemade cream cheese.
Yeah.
So we milk a cow on the farm, so we make cheese as
Do you
well.
sell the cheese or
we
the
do.
homemade cream
Yeah.
cheese too?
We do. We don't always have it at the market, but we do. And right now, our biggest hard cheeses that we're selling are a Gruyere and an Asiago.
You sound so fancy right
and
now.
I know, 2 fancy cheeses.
My Gruyere and
they're
Asiago.
not orange. That's what when I teach kids how to make cheese, or I go talk about cheese at elementary schools, I always ask kids what their favorite cheese are, and you can tell the ones that are exposed because they'll say something besides orange cheese.
Yes.
But most of the kids are like, we like the orange cheese. You know,
the sliced cheese. I grew up on the vegetable oil based American cheese, just the slice of cheese. Yep. And when my wife and I first got married, her family always would buy like the blocks of cheese and cut it up, and I'm like, and whenever I try it, I'd be like, it was bitter, and now I know that means how sharp the cheddar was or whatever. But I was always grossed out by that, and I'm like, I'll stick with my slice of fake cheese here. And but then for whatever reason, I don't know if it was just in foods we were making, we'd use like the shredded cheddar or something.
Right, yes.
And then I don't know when this transition happened, but all of a sudden I realized I was only eating like other types of cheeses, and I went and ate a slice of American cheese, and I had to spit it out.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't know how good real food is. And then when you talk about, like, my wife always goes on and on about, like, there's a difference between a store-bought tomato and a fresh tomato.
Yes, for
off
sure.
the vine and the sweetness and all of that. Anyway, I don't know if you want to dive into some of that
like,
too.
and I think people that eat really good food all the time, they're the ones we see at the farmer's market. First thing in the morning, they're there right when we open. They're making sure that they get their produce.
They're stocking up.
Yeah, because it's, they get the first pick of all of the really good produce. And 9 o'clock is a busy time at the market for the vegetable, produce vendors. Yeah. It's like there's a line, and we're selling a lot of produce, and it's good produce, and it's good for you. It has more, it's healthy. It's they've done tests, homegrown stuff that you pick right out of the garden. It's more nutrient dense. Yeah, right. And it just tastes better also.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you get the flavors.
Yeah.
Are more prominent, I guess, is a way to put it for the lay person. I being the lay person, which is why I put it that way. So let's talk about a little bit, and then I want to talk about your farm, or maybe this coincides. But what made you go? Let's start a farmer's market, and talk about getting that started from the beginning. I know you weren't at your current location then, but how did you go about starting a farmer's market?
Well, and I do think they will go hand in hand, because I was Ogden Carpet had a parking lot. But like 2008, I think, is when I first started showing up there. Okay. And they had been doing it for a while, where they just let people gather and sell their produce all summer. And so I started going, bring in a few things, making bread. I mean, I still make the same banana bread that I made back in 2008 today for the farmer's market. Started just making some bread, taking some of my preserves, just taking a few things, taking my extra veggies to the market there. And it was just kind of a gathering place for everybody. And then in 2009, the Department of Agriculture came out and said, we are now regulating farmers markets. They're going to be structured. This is the rules and regulations. You have to follow all of these things. And that's kind of when everything transitioned. There was no more just like, we're just gathering together. Now we have to register to be a farmer's market, and we have to follow some guidelines. Yeah. And so at that time, that is when, over the next couple of years, things changed. And the Iron County Extension Office started a evening market here in Cedar City, and it was very structured. It was the first really structured farmers market that we had in Cedar City. And a lot of us attended that market, and it was very successful. People were dying for farmers markets. It was just like, oh my gosh, this is what we needed in this town. And it was at that time when that market ended, and I believe that was 2011. When that market ended was when we started going year round in the winter. So which was on a Saturday. So we didn't carry the Wednesday night market on year round, but Saturday mornings is when we're just like, okay, let's all meet together and keep going year round. So then we started to structure our Saturday market at that time.
And you gave up Saturdays for the rest of your life.
Yes, exactly.
Sorry, keep going. Yeah.
But it has been.
I was just
thinking,
dawning on me, like, what?
Yeah,
you never have a Saturday again.
And not for many, many years.
Yeah,
you know?
That's crazy.
And we've only missed a handful of markets over the last few years. So, but my husband is in law enforcement, and his schedule he usually works Saturdays as well. So for our family, it worked out.
Just the
schedule worked out.
Yeah,
but it would, whenever we have a Saturday when we're on vacation or we go to other farmers markets, it's really nice to have those Saturday mornings off. But
that's awesome.
This is the life we chose.
Yeah.
so that's when we kind of started structuring the farmers market. And I decided at that point that this is what I wanted to do as my job.
Yeah,
I wanted to expand my farm. I wanted to grow more. I wanted to do this, and I needed a place to sell all the stuff that I was producing, and I wanted it to be year round. I wanted to sell stuff in the winter because winter's a hard time for farmers.
Yeah,
if you don't make enough in the summer to get you through the winter, then it can be a struggle. And a lot of farmers, that's why they stop being farmers, is because they have to get a job.
That gap.
Yeah. So they get a job for winter, and then it's like, then farming becomes part-time, or supplemental, and then it just kind of flips. And so, I wanted it to be my full-time job, and so I've always, kept a market going for a place to sell our stuff.
So what's the primary things farmers sell during the winter months then?
Mostly stuff that they have preserved through the summer.
I was assuming it was the preserves or the canned in the bottle.
Yeah, and then like our mushroom vendors and our microgreens, they grow all winter.
Oh, do they just do like an indoor grow?
Yeah. So microgreens are, highly nutrient, really small, like the starts of a seed. And very flavorful.
You're talking like sprouts and or whatever.
Like sprouts, except they're grown in soil and not just in a jar.
Oh,
so
really?
yes, and then they harvest them. So it's really interesting. They're very gourmet these days. The restaurants like to top it because they're really packed with flavor. So if you do like a basil microgreen, they'd be like this tall, and just maybe they've grown a week or two, and then they harvest them.
Oh, wow.
So not to full production, but they're really packed with nutrients and flavor. So then they can just sprinkle it on the food, and it just adds a pop.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we have those, and then, of course, we have all our, like, breads and jams and, those type of foods. And then all of our food vendors, that make their food. We have Cuban food. We have Native American fry bread.
Oh, yeah.
We've got popcorn all year, kettle corn, So those are the kind of things you find in winter.
Yeah. When you talk about the breads, there's another tangential story from your digression, but I don't know, probably 15 years ago or so, my wife's friend was over at the house, and they made some homemade bread. And when I was a kid, the closest thing to homemade bread was you buy those instant packs, and my mom had a bread maker, and you just throw it in, and it cooked it there.
Oh,
and
yes.
that was homemade for us.
Right.
It wasn't just, the store-bought bread.
Right.
So my wife was actually making bread from scratch, and her eyes, like, figuratively and physically just widened, like, whoa. And, she grew up with a lot of homemade stuff. Her mom and her grandparents all kind of did some of that stuff. But when she did this with her friend, then she started getting in the habit of just regular making homemade bread. And then before the big sourdough craze hit, especially during COVID, she got into making sourdoughs and got this start, and just having those homemade goods. As she says that she's like a bread snob basically now, and can't eat the store-bought stuff. Yeah. I still like the store-bought stuff for some things, but for the most part, it's always homemade sourdough. Just yesterday we were having sourdough French toast.
Yes.
You know, some of those types
amazing,
of things.
yes.
Yeah, I keep telling her she needs to make, because she'll make them in loaves. Originally, she started with the
rounds.
the rounds with the little crisscrosses.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you should make mini rounds and make those bread bowls. We still haven't done that.
Yes,
but I'm like,
do
that would be,
that.
because the rounds, the crust is so hard. That's why she started going into the loaves.
Right.
When you eat them, I mean, they're fantastic either way. But
Yeah.
anyways,
and
I'm
it's
glad.
almost soup season, so you need the soup bowls.
I
You
know,
know
exactly.
Which is
yeah.
another thing we have in the market, soup.
Yeah.
People bring
Okay.
soup. But I was going to say with the, a lot of people with the sourdough bread, their biggest challenge is they like sliced bread,
Yeah,
so
right.
that's why they like it from the grocery store.
Yeah.
So that's one thing we started doing. We bought a bread slicer.
Oh, really?
So now we sell our sourdough loaves sliced.
Oh, okay. In the rounds?
Yeah,
or in the
the
loaves?
rounds, yeah.
Okay.
So it's that has really increased our sales in sourdough bread because people are like, oh, now I can get sourdough and it's sliced.
Yeah.
And we make the grilled cheese sandwiches. My son makes those grilled cheese sandwiches. And so he wants all of his bread sliced to the perfect thickness in order to cook evenly. So that was a good investment for the market.
That's kind of how I am when I cut the sourdough. When I eat like sourdough with jam and butter, I want a big, thick piece, But when I'm having a sandwich, that's always been my annoyance. So I'm like trying to cut it as thin as possible. Maybe we need to get a bread cutter.
Yeah.
But I just had a marketing shtick come to mind for you on sourdough, because we talked on the round.
Yeah.
You're right across from Shakespeare, the Utah Shakespeare Festival, where they do theater on the round. You need to do a sourdough loaf with sourdough on the round, where you name it that, or some sort of Shakespeare on the round, where you do a loaf that's specifically the Shakespeare loaf. Anyways,
good idea. I'll be thinking about that.
There's a marketing shtick for you. You can
good flavor.
You can steal it. I just need 20%. No, I'm just
of
teasing.
all loaves, yes. One of our most popular loaves is actually roasted red pepper with Asiago.
Oh, really?
And the Asiago is the cheese that we make, and people love that, and it's seasonal.
Yeah.
I don't always have it every single week because it just depends on, what rounds of, because I make, the rounds of cheese. It's just going to depend on which ones I decide I'm going to cut up for that week. So
I love the different types of sourdoughs.
Yeah.
What's interesting about sourdough, and this is really tangential, is the level of flavor or sourness to it, I guess.
Yeah.
There's some and you'll have to explain to me, because I can't remember exactly what it is, but the duration of the start contributes to how sour it is, how long you let it go. And I think it's more time, the more sour. Is that right?
Yeah.
So my wife's sourdough is really very mild, because as soon as the start's ready to bake some bread, we're baking bread, right? Which I actually don't mind so much for most of the bread uses that we have.
Yeah.
But there was something else with the sourdough that I was, with the start, you hear these people, maybe you can help clarify this for me, but you hear these people talk about, I have a start that's been around since 1682 or whatever.
Right, yes.
But I've been told that even though that may be where it originated, it's part of this start and you shipped it from Europe or whatever.
Right.
The truth is, it's a whole new start, because you're constantly feeding your start.
Yeah.
And it's really not the same.
Right.
What you feed it with is what the start becomes.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And also,
is that wrong?
all of the floras, they say, and the different in your environment are going to change your start to
and contribute to that start.
The
so
bacterias
because there's bacteria in it that
it's going to change.
Yeah, it
may have originated, because the one start that I have is actually a tartan start that's originated in San Francisco.
Oh, really?
The big sourdough guy. Yeah. But it does change based on what my flour, my water,
our elevation even plays a role into
all
some
of the
those
things I'm doing in my kitchen that add, so it does change, and it kind of becomes unique and becomes your own, and you can make your own.
Yeah.
You don't even have to get an established start.
Yeah.
You can just make your own.
And my wife has done that too. Yeah. She originally got it from, I think with my stepmom, there was some church thing going on. They all got a start, and this was even before the phase, and then my wife got it, and anyways, or maybe it was her friend. I can't remember, but pass the start along. But you can do your own start, and there's things online where you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to make other bread before sourdough.
Okay.
I used to do a lot of flavors, but it was a long fermented bread still, but it used a regular yeast. And then I would do sandwich loaves that were just like a white bread or a wheat bread.
Yeah.
And every once in a while I think, I should go back and make some of those, breads that have just a regular yeast in them, because there are people who still love like regular bread.
I'm all about the bread.
And so I'm like, I need
carbs
to
are my friend.
Add some white sandwich loaves back into the mix, or some whole wheat sandwich loaves back into the mix, because sourdough is great and people love it. But there's a place for other bread as well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And, well, even though it's kind of totally different genre of bread, but when you talked about banana bread earlier, I was like, ooh, banana bread.
Yes.
That was one of those few homemade things that I actually was introduced to in my youth. And whenever there was banana bread, it was like, it was very rare, but it was so good.
So
and then
good,
you add chocolate chip banana bread, which, by the way, zucchini bread, if you add chocolate chips in it and it's moist enough, tastes exactly like banana bread to me.
And it's
I don't know why.
Yeah. We do sweetbreads. We do like pumpkin bread this time of year. We'll probably do like our caramel apple soon. It's apple season starting.
That's a bread, a caramel apple bread?
Yeah, it's just a little mini loaf.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like a dessert bread.
Yeah, sure.
It's got like a brown sugar crumble on the top and then caramel, and it's made with apples.
That sounds like trouble.
Yeah, it's really good. We do a lemon zucchini.
Yeah.
That's really, I prefer the lemon zucchini. I love lemon, but over just a regular zucchini. But
that's awesome.
We kind of change that with the season.
Yeah.
Depending on what produce is in season then, that's what breads we make. So.
Well, let's shift gears, and we only have a little bit kind of to wrap up the podcast, but there's a couple things I want to hit on. First, I want to hit on just kind of high level your farm, where your farm's at, what kind of, you talked about, you used a phrase that most people don't know, and that's agritourism.
Yeah.
And you have events that I would say are in the realm of agritourism that you do. So briefly highlight those, and then to kind of wrap up, where people can go, if there's somewhere online where they can learn more about and follow the farmers market, the Festival City Farmers Market. Right. So I'll let you kind of go from there.
Okay. So as far as farmers market, you can find, we are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, under Festival City Farmers Market. If you want to be a vendor, we have a website as well, Festival City Farmers Market, and you can apply.
Is it .com or?
Yeah, .com. Okay. Yep. And you can apply to be a vendor for that. We're in charge of the Christmas market this year that is downtown in conjunction with the street lighting that the city's puts on.
Is it going to be outdoor?
It's going to be outdoor. Okay. It's going to be on Center Street. So we will be running that as its own market, but it'll be the farmers market, or myself will be running that the Christmas market as well. So that's going to be great. And at the farm, we're going to be doing a Christmas event as well. So as far as agritourism goes, we do 3 events a year. We're just now finishing up our Harvest Fest, which is our pumpkin patch. We do the hay rides, the apple cider, come and pick a pumpkin.
Yeah. Where are you guys located at?
So we're located, the best way to find our farm is just to type in Nature Hills Farm into your GPS. But we sit in the foothills on the east side of the freeway across from Enoch.
Okay.
So we have 5 acres out there. We've been there for 20 years, and we built the house, we built the farm, we've just expanded.
Awesome.
People can come out and they can do a self-guided farm tour. They can see all of our animals. They can see our cows. We got, baby cow right now. We got baby pigs. They can just kind of walk around and see things. And then our Christmas event is probably the biggest event that we do all year. We have Santa comes, we have the Grinch, we do a caroling hayride from the parking lot because we have parking off site. And then we have story time, we have crafts. I mean, it's just a great event. People can find out more on Nature Hills Farm is my business name. It's on Instagram. It's on Facebook. We're selling tickets now for Christmas.
Okay.
People are buying tickets already.
Nice.
People from Vegas come a lot.
Wow, that's awesome.
You know, they love to come here. Sometimes we have snow. So that's our biggest event of the year. And then we'll kind of move into winter, the farm store that, you know, we have a farm store. So that's open year round. That'll stay open, but everything on the farm kind of quiets down during the winter.
Yeah, makes sense.
And we go with that now. We're trying to be a little more, you know, intentional about relaxing during the winters. We used to just go really heavy in the all winter long. I will teach a couple cheese making classes in the winter time, but for the most part, you know, summer's our busy time, and we are at the farmers market all summer long, and that's where our biggest presence is, for both the farm and you know, and the market itself. Summers are great. Summers are busy.
So you said you had 3 events. You mentioned the fall one and the Christmas one.
And then we'll do a live nativity.
Oh, that's part of the
Christmas. And it's just one night. It's a Monday night. It's a really cool event as well. And it's kind of a interactive. You know, you move through the town of Bethlehem, and you make your stops along the way, and you see the wise men, and you see the shepherds and the angels, and then you see, you know, Mary and Joseph in the stable, and so it's not just like you sit and watch the production on stage. You kind of move with it, and so it's kind of a cool farm twist of a nativity. So.
Well, awesome. Well, Heather, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and chatting about the farmers market and your farm, and just indulging me in talking about food, which is
a good subject.
A great subject to talk about. So Heather Carter with Festival City Farmers Market and Nature Hills Farms.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.